Hey, Bridget, how are you today?
Oh, I'm good. How are you doing, Holly?
I'm doing great. I feel like that there have never been two people in the world that are this excited about payroll and HR. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very niche love of mine, but I'm unashamed about it.
You are the most knowledgeable and have the most expertise around payroll than anyone that I've ever met, which is one of the reasons I love working with you every day because it's a huge need.
Aw,
So I'm excited to dive in. Well, everybody, if you're joining us, we are so grateful that you chose to spend this next hour with us, really digging into how to make your HR and payroll process so much more simple and easier for your team and for you. And so I'm Holly Tate. I'm SVP of Growth here at Leadr, and I am joined by Bridget Kelly. And we are going to be diving in today on our new core HR and payroll solution and just 5 ways to really make your HR systems and processes more effective. So regardless of whether you partner with Leadr or not, hopefully you will walk away today with 5 practical steps to make that easier. So join, or actually not join us, you're already joining us in the chat. I would love to hear from you. Where are you joining us from today? So I'm in Houston, where the high today is only 88 degrees, which is a true summer miracle. What about you, Bridget? You're in Dallas. What's the weather like
I'm in
there?
Dallas. It's a little bit more humid just because we've had crazy rainfall these last couple of days. So I curled my hair this morning, but you can't tell. But it's definitely nicer. I'll take that over the 100 degrees, 105 that we had for so long. So
Yeah, you guys, Dallas had a lot of rain. It was even on the
yeah.
national news
Hmm.
earlier this week. So,
Yeah.
oh goodness. All right. Well, let us know where
And
you are
that's
joining us from in the chat. So you've got a couple options there in your Zoom chat. You have the chat feature, and then you also have the Q&A feature. And so you are able to drop in both of those. Would love to hear where everybody's joining us from today, and also your role on the team. That's something that is really helpful to us. Are you leading HR for your team? Are you in another seat, but this is something that you're really passionate about? Would love to hear from you there in the chat or the Q&A box. All right, Bridget, I am going to share my screen here. So let me know. Oh, hey, Anna. Yes, you're in Houston too. It is very nice to not have 100-degree weather. That is for sure. Okay, Bridget, hold on one sec. I'm actually going to put you in a different desktop here so that I can see everything better. Okay, team, here we go. Sharing right now. There we go. Okay, are you looking at my screen, Bridget?
I can see it.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to take the pain out of payroll. So, Bridget, one thing that I would love for people to hear about you is a little bit about your story and why you're so passionate about making payroll more effective.
Yeah. So I worked for 6 years for your typical Southern megachurch here in Dallas, Texas. I worked for Watermark, as you can see there, was kind of thrust into a payroll and HR role, not really understanding what that meant or what that looked like, and really inherited a multi-setup system. And so I had a filing cabinet. I had back then I was importing a spreadsheet, like a CSV file for my payroll, and it was something else.
Yes, well, that is where what I hear the most on calls with when I'm talking to our customers is exactly what you just described, where it's multiple systems, exporting, importing, filing cabinets. And so hopefully we'll be able to solve some of that today. And it looks like our chat is actually disabled, which I believe is a new Zoom feature. I was on a webinar last week where that same problem happened. So I'm so sorry, guys. We're going to look into that on the back end while Bridget and I are talking today, but I love seeing you in the Q&A box. It looks like we've got a couple people joining from somebody from Arizona. Hey, Joe from South Carolina. We've got George from North Carolina. So glad y'all are here and so sorry about chat. We're going to see if there's anything we can do to get it turned on during the webinar, but it might be something that we'll have to do for next time ahead of time. So thank you for letting us know, but keep those comments and questions coming. I'll be keeping an eye on that in the Q&A box for sure. Jason's joining us from Oregon, Archie from Florida, Cindy from Kansas City. We've got John from Atlanta. And yeah, Courtney, 83 is hot for us. Yeah, come on down to Houston. For sure. I love this. I love seeing everybody from all over the country. Ohio, another one from Florida and Washington. Dory, so glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Keep it coming. All right. Yeah, Bridget, so you inherited lots of bifurcated systems. I know you were a part of bringing that all together kind of into one place there.
I was, which was a lot of fun, getting to learn the process of paperless onboarding, which is incredible, really changed some things for us. But at the same time, I don't know about you guys and your guys' leadership, but sometimes, especially in that nonprofit world, people get stuck in their ways and they don't want to make big changes, even if it will save a ton of time. And so we still had 250 part-time employees completing paper W-4s and I-9s and needing to house those in that filing cabinet.
Yes.
So
so true. And good news, we have chat turned on. So check it out, try it out. Looks like it is hopefully chat in there. Let's see if we can see it. And hopefully we've got that turned on because we want to make today really interactive. As entertaining as Bridget and I are, it will be way more fun to have everybody in chat. All right. Okay, so in my story, Bridget, the reason why I'm so passionate about HR and payroll is because I've spent the last kind of 10 years in this leadership space in different capacities. But for the first 9 of those 10 years, well, 8.5, I guess, I worked for an executive search firm. And one of the things that I noticed as we were working with our customers and helping them hire the right people, a lot of times they thought that that was the silver bullet. And while hiring is one of the most important parts of building a thriving team and organization, that's just the beginning. It's really that employee experience from after hiring to onboarding to making it really easy for employees to update things and not have to reset their password every single time they have to go through and get their pay stub and all of those things. Making that employee experience really delightful is a huge part of making sure that every single person on our team is engaged and growing. And so through that experience and then joining the team at Leadr, where we've got over 800 customers that are now using our platform, as I've been doing research with our customers to figure out what are the biggest pain points, what's keeping them awake at night, we continually hear core HR and payroll as a big part of what is prohibiting our customers from effectively developing their people. And so really being able to provide a solution for the back of house HR, you know, I don't know anybody, I do not know anyone who went into HR to be inundated with paperwork. Everybody that I know that went into HR truly cares for people. And that's why they became an HR professional or a leader on their team. But it's often the inefficient systems and processes that hold us back from truly doing what's most important, which is developing our people. So Bridget, did you see that in your seat at Watermark, where you found yourself really wanting to invest in your people and spend time developing the team and helping the leadership team do that, but really being pulled more towards that paperwork and those filing cabinets because you had to every day?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. And not only that, and we are going to allude to this so many times, but it's the different systems that you have to note everything into. And so an employee makes a change in one place, I'm making sure that I have these checklists that are created that help me make sure that I make those changes into every system that we have. And yeah, the paperwork is never ending. And so thankful we're transitioning into more of a paperless society, which is great.
Absolutely. But I mean, it's really still shocking to me how many of even our existing Leadr customers, as I've been doing a lot of research and really figuring out a solution to this, that are still using a lot of manual systems and processes. Talked to several customers where when a person is submitting PTO, it comes to one person's inbox, and then they're manually tracking that on a spreadsheet. And the amount of time and hours that that's taking away from our HR team to be able to doing the most important things we at Leadr were determined to be a part of that solution. And so that's
Yeah.
really our heart, is we want to help you spend less time in paperwork and more time developing your people. And that's why we're now able to offer even more robust core HR features and a payroll solution. So, all right, Bridget, let's dive in. As
Yeah.
I looked across the landscape, and you and I have had a lot of conversations about this, I've really boiled it down to 5 ways that organizations can enhance their employee experience by focusing their HR on a people first mentality. A lot of times it's easy for us, whether we're on the executive team or a leader in our organization or on our HR team, it's easy for us to think about what's best for me and my role rather than what's best for our employees' experience. And so as I've really tried to think about how to help those that are joining us today, it really boiled down to 5 things. And the thread that weaves through all 5 of these things is just simplification. Simplify, simplify, simplify. And so the first point here is bringing everything into one place. So the more that we can have a one-stop shop for our team, where they're not having to log into, 4, 5, 6 different places, is really, really helpful for enhancing that employee experience. So, Bridget, you kind of alluded to this a minute ago with the filing cabinet, but talk to me about, when you were leading a team at Watermark, where you guys had over 500 FTEs. What did that look like and feel like every day to have such different fragmented systems and processes and things in different places?
Yeah. So I, for example, would have an employee that couldn't get their pay stub. And so they emailed me and needed me to send them their pay stub. I took my time and it was great, sent them their pay stub, and they said, okay, it looks like you entered my W-4 incorrectly into the payroll system. And so I was like, okay, great. Took the time to dig through my employee files and find that W-4 so that I could compare it to what we had into our payroll system. And it's just, that is the perfect example of loving to help people. I love to, if an employee is going through buying a new house and they need to get their pay stubs to show the mortgage company, love to help my employees in that way. But when it takes me so much time to get them their pay stubs and then dig out the W-4, make sure we have the withholding correct, it just makes it a lot more difficult to spend time developing culture and to make sure that we are doing best by our employees.
Yeah. And also from the employee's experience, to feel that frustration of, I already had this conversation. I told you that this needed to be updated. And then you enter one number incorrectly, and then you have to start the process all over again. And that might delay their pay period. And just all of those complications that come with it not all being in one place, especially when we are not bringing it into a digital environment. It's definitely painful. And so that was one of the first things that we set out to do. And we said, okay, we're hearing from our customers that payroll and HR is a big pain point. How can we help our customers bring it all into one place so we can be a one-stop shop for all things people? So that was the number one priority that we set out for when we were looking to really find a solution for our customers on this. All right, the next topic, I could probably do an entire webinar on just this one topic, and that is employee onboarding. So I mentioned a few minutes ago, I spent almost 9 years in recruiting and executive search. And one of the things that I would notice was the organization would work so hard to hire that right person, right? And they've invested a lot of money in hiring that person. And then the person starts, and that first day, that first week was a terrible experience. And onboarding is the number one thing that you can do to really make sure that you're setting a foundation of employee engagement for the rest of that employee's life cycle with you at your organization. But if we miss the mark on onboarding, it's going to be that much harder to build that employee's trust if they don't feel seen and heard and valued on that very first day and that very first week, et cetera. And so, Bridget, I've got a stat here that is really alarming, actually. And I think for any leader on this this webinar today, this is something that we really need to be thinking about. And this is from Gallup, which is, I mean, I love Gallup. I read all of their emails, huge workplace research organization. And they have this stat that says only 12% of employees feel that their company does a good job onboarding new team members. Only 12%. That's terrible. So we've got a lot of work to do across the board of really prioritizing onboarding. And for me, I think one of the number one reasons why employees feel this way is because what is the typical experience, Bridget, of somebody starts on their first day, and what do they spend most of the first day doing?
So I have an employee come into my office and we sit down together. We talk about the W-4. We talk about the I-9. I explain, okay, these are the employment ID documents that you'll need to submit, whether that's one from list A or one from list B and list C, and just walking through which one is your routing number and which one is your account number on a check, and how do I get my direct deposit done? And so it's absolutely something I've seen done really poorly previously. And then since coming to Leadr, seeing what it could be for employees has been really, really cool. Like my experience coming on board back almost a year ago, and then the employees that have joined since then has been awesome.
Yeah, no, that's been my experience before in previous workplaces where, and I think most employees' expectation is that they're not going to really do anything on that first day. They're going to spend their time in the HR person's office just filling out paperwork. And I know I've been there where I'm like, why am I filling out my name and address for the 5th time? Like I already gave it to you 4 times on this piece of paper. Why do I have to fill it out again? And so for us to be able to prioritize a really great first day where that employee can really focus on getting to know the team and the culture and their role, we've got to make sure we take care of all of that paperwork beforehand. And so when we looked out for a solution to this, we wanted to make sure that our core HR feature had a digital employee onboarding experience that the employee could do before their first day. So all of that's taken care of before they even walk in those doors, or if it's a remote job, pop on Zoom on their first day. And so Bridget, can you show us a little bit about the platform that we use and that our customers at Leadr use for that digital employee onboarding experience?
I would love to. So what we are looking at right here is going to be that first screen. So all you need is an employee's name and email address. So before their first day, they can get a customized link to this customized onboarding screen. So whether you have different documents for your full-time, part-time, 1099 contractors, this is completely customizable. You can do a download and sign and acknowledge. You can do an employee fillable form, or you can do a link to a third-party onboarding video, say on YouTube or whatever you guys use to record that. This pink onboarding button, we love step-by-step processes and just the desire to create as easy steps as possible for your employees. And so this will take them through about you, and the address that they enter right there will automatically populate that state tax withholding form that employee is going to need for that. They can upload pictures for their I-9 documents. And so that is all housed in one system. If you guys want your employees to enter their t-shirt size so that you can have that on file for the rest, that is possible as well. And then finally, your employee is not done. It won't let you be done until it's completed. I know we hire some younger folks that don't have their social security card or whatever it takes to complete that I-9. And so this will tell them everything that is missing and still needs to be completed.
That's awesome. So what I love about this is not only is it a better experience for the HR team because it's all there, it walks the employee through exactly what they need, make sure it's all complete so you don't have to go chase down information, knock on doors. But it's also an awesome, easy to use, intuitive experience for the employee, and they can have it all filled out before their first day. So game changer. All right. So number 1 was on our 5 ways to enhance your employee experience. Number 1 was to make sure that you're prioritizing a one-stop shop for all things people. Number 2 is to level up that employee onboarding experience by making it digital and sending it to the employee to fill out before their first day. All right, number 3 is Bridget's favorite topic, which is payroll.
Yeah.
Yes, we love it. All right, so Bridget, we've got 2 different types of organizations that are joining us today. We have some churches and we have businesses. And so for our churches and nonprofits, what are a couple of the main pain points that you see from a payroll perspective? And then I want to hear some pain points on the business side.
Yeah. So when I was working for Watermark, and so we were initially working with Fidelity Online, which was that CSV file upload. And as we were kind of vetting new payroll providers, one of the biggest things that I found is that a lot of payroll providers have 3 earning line items, which is impossible working for a church, because you need to be able to have one earning line item for their salary. When you have pastors that receive a housing allowance that is tax-free, you have to be able to have another line item for that tax-free earning. And then what about a cell phone reimbursement or a 401k match that you want to note on their pay stub? Anything like that, it was near impossible. And you would constantly find those payroll providers that didn't understand the nuances of those tax-free earning line items and how to get your 403B percentage matching to take into account both that salary and that housing allowance whenever you update your salary, and they're contributing a percent of their income. Yeah. So, and now here at Leadr, it's obviously not a 501c3. So I'm learning all about different commissions and bonuses and any of those pay that is infrequent or only happens on a monthly basis. And so, and on top of that, we have employees all over the country. And so when I alluded to them entering their address and it auto-populating that state tax withholding form, I'm learning all about employment laws in California and the state and city and local taxes of Ohio. And because living in Texas, I've never had to worry about that. And so it's been a big learning process and really cool to have a system that's going to automatically do that for me.
Absolutely. So, and Archie just posted a question, which Bert, thank you for your question. I'm going to get to that and Carlos as well. So Archie just said, are you familiar with housing allowances for pastors? And yes, Bridget, you just explained that you were leading, helping lead an organization of over 500 employees, a big chunk of which were pastors. And so the nuances of payroll that have specific tax deductions that are different from for-profits, different by state, like all of those nuances, that's what makes us uniquely positioned at Leadr, since we serve hundreds of churches, to be able to help you make sure your payroll's in compliance. And it's really amazing how many churches are out of compliance with their payroll and don't even know it. And it's not on purpose. It's just because your HR person or whoever's doing payroll just might not be aware of those nuances that specifically with pastor housing allowances and tax credits that are just different from the corporate world or for-profit organizations. So yes, we're very familiar with it, and no one is more knowledgeable about this than Bridget Kelly, for sure.
Oh my gosh, sitting down with ministers and helping them figure out whether or not they should opt out of Social Security. Archie, I feel you. I really do.
That's awesome. And then I love how you explained on the business side, because I know we have a few people watching today that have the hybrid workforce as well, where you've got, your headquarters are in one state, you've got virtual employees in different states. We also have several folks watching today, I know, that have some 1099 employees or seasonal workers as well. And so as we were really figuring out, okay, what is a core HR and payroll solution that will enable us to help all of our customers, from churches and nonprofit 501c3s and businesses that have a lot of seasonal or 1099 workers, et cetera, we really wanted to make sure that we had a solution that could serve all of those customers. And now we're able to do that, which is so exciting. And you also get the expertise of our team, Bridget, and our SVP of Ops and our CFO, who are also very knowledgeable about this to help our customers as well. So a couple of questions before we move on from payroll, Bridget. So let's see. Carlos in the chat is asking, can a completion email be sent to the hiring manager once it's done? So talking about employee onboarding, once that's completed, does the hiring manager get an email notification?
So not necessarily an email notification, but when you as a manager are logged into that employee self-service side, you are going to have a task list. And so within that task list, you will see that your employee has completed that onboarding, and you can go in and double check that W-4 and double check those I-9 documents are not expired or from the correct lists, and that they have completed everything correctly. So
That's awesome.
not an email, but you will be notified of those changes.
Yeah, it'll be right there in your dashboard, which is,
Yeah.
I'm sure, so helpful to people like you who are bringing people on and offboarding all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Liz can relate. She feels your pain, that it was so much easier to send offer letters through the onboarding process digital, which was a huge win for them. Bert is asking, can you customize the onboarding program for different types of employees, like FTEs versus part-time versus interns or pastoral staff?
Yeah, so you can create as many onboarding templates as you would like. So your 1099 employees just need to complete that single form that tells you that they are either a sole proprietor, an LLC, an S Corp, whatever that may be, and either their FEIN or social security number, as well as your ministers are going to have a separate one. So if you want them to go ahead and agree to your guys' bylaws, that they believe what your church stands for, you can put that in their onboarding instance as well. And so, yeah, completely customizable by employee. And then you would just denote which onboarding template they would receive when you send it to them.
That's awesome. Yeah, here at Leadr, we have our employee handbook that every employee has to sign. And then also we have a dog at work policy. So depending on—
It's my greatest joy, honestly.
Exactly. And so things like that, to be able to have that as a part of the digital onboarding experience, where they're looking at those documents ahead of time, acknowledging that they've read them, signing them electronically, super helpful. All right, one more question before we move on to step number 4 in simplifying our HR processes. Andy says, I love the simplification of documentation before employees come in. For the digital onboarding, are I-9s allowed to be completed remotely? I thought the documents must be physically examined.
Yeah, so this is a law that changed during quarantine. So as we are kind of experiencing this new COVID-19, you were allowed to only submit those via pictures as opposed to inspecting those documents physically. But there are different nuances between, we have fully remote employees that are living in different states, and we just don't have the ability to view those employment documents. And so it varies on a per employee and essentially a per case basis. But those laws are now kind of going back to what they were prior to 2020. And so ever changing. You gotta love new government laws and employment laws.
Yes. Well, and that's another thing, Bridget, why I always learn things talking to you, because you're so knowledgeable about and staying up to speed on what's changing and what's not. And so another reason why not only are getting a great software solution, but to be able to work alongside and get expertise from you every day with our Leadr HR and Leadr Pay solutions is just such a gift to our customers. So that's awesome. All right. So in our 5 ways to enhance the employee experience through people first HR, number 1, one-stop shop for people. Number 2, making sure that we're prioritizing the employee onboarding experience. And then number 3 is payroll. All right. Number 4, let's see if people can guess what it is. I'm going to share my screen again. Number 4 is PTO. So this is, I am still so surprised in talking to some of our customers about how they are managing PTO. PTO is so important because, as we know, one of the 6 problems that we've identified at Leadr is employee burnout, which leads to staff turnover. And so making sure, we call it PTO like a boss here at Leadr. That's kind of one of our values, is making sure that employees are taking their PTO and really prioritizing that. But the issue is that a lot of times I see HR teams not be equipped to be able to do this efficiently. And it's still a very manual process. Or especially if we're a growing team, we've had a lack of systems and processes around PTO. And then as we grow, we run into issues where we're like, oh, someone's taking advantage of our PTO policy, or someone is not using their PTO. And so it's really important that we have a streamlined system and process around PTO, so that number 1, we can make sure our employees stay healthy. And then number two, it protects us as an organization for making sure that it's really, really clear what those policies are. So from the PTO perspective, Bridget, can you show us what that looks like on the employee's end to make it really easy to manage and request PTO?
I would love to. So this first screen, what we're looking at right here is kind of like what Holly said. We give our employees PTO because we want our employees to use their PTO. So I am a manager, and my employee, Andy Stanley, I can view all of his accrual PTO information. And I can see as of last pay period, he had 15 hours available. If I saw that this said 140 hours that he had, I can say, hey, Andy, we want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, and getting out of the office. It'll also show me after this current pay period, how many hours will he have accrued. And so I really enjoy this view as well. And then when we go into my personal time off, I'm going to be able to see, okay, I have 35 hours of PTO. I have 392 hours of sick time because I don't get sick, any upcoming, pending, or past time off. And then this 2022 holiday calendar is completely customizable. And so if your employees work on Easter Sunday, but they get Easter Monday off, we can absolutely build that into your employees' view.
That's awesome. And then what about the PTO calendar too, Bridget? I know that's something that we get asked for a lot, the calendar feature, being able to see that all in one place.
Yeah, so for me and my personal calendar, I'm going to be able to see that here. But again, as a manager, I want to be able to see how many employees are taking off on a specific day. So I can see today, August 25th, I have 3 employees that have scheduled time off. I see, okay, only one of them is out the whole day, and none of these roles really coincide with each other. But if I see that I have 2 people that kind of are co-laborers in their role, and they've both requested the same day off, I can kind of go back to them and say, hey, would you mind, is there a different day that you might be able to take off? And again, completely customizable. And so if you want everyone in the same department to see everybody else in the same department and what days they are taking off, you can see not only your downline, but whatever you want to see within this calendar within your guys' specific organization.
Yeah, it's so helpful, especially as your team grows. So I recently went from leading a team of 5 to a team of 40 plus people. And when you have 5 people on your team, it's really easy to, keep track of who's on PTO and who's not. But when your team grows, it gets harder and harder to really keep track of that. And obviously the intention is not to say, no, you can't take PTO, but the intention is to make sure that you've got coverage across the organization, to make sure that you don't have, 2 or 3 people in one area taking time off, and then you're left going, oh, no, I'm just going to take care of this responsibility this week. And so that is a huge benefit to this platform, to be able to see all of that in one place.
Yeah.
It's awesome. All right, Bridget. Okay, so quick recap again before we jump into our last point of how to increase the employee experience by simplifying our HR solutions, making it people first. So number 1 was the one-stop shop to all things people. Number 2 was employee onboarding, digitizing that employee onboarding, making sure that first day is a great experience. Number 3 was payroll, your favorite thing. Number 4 was PTO. And the last one that I want to share, and I've got a couple stats as well, is benefits. And so as we all are aware, benefits has become more expensive. I mean, everything has become more expensive over the last several months and year. But benefits, especially, we're seeing across the board, almost every customer, they're coming to us saying, do you guys help with insurance? Because we just got a quote and our rates have gone up by 6 to 8%. And so they're looking for other solutions. And so as a part of us listening to our customers and really understanding how we can help solve their people problems, being licensed health brokers and providing benefit solutions to our customers is something that we've been able to offer, and are making sure that our customers know about that. And so especially through something called level funded plans that we actually here at Leadr just switched to for our own team of almost 100 employees. And we were able, one of our coworkers, Bridget, Jeremy, he was able to save $400 a month. He's got 2 kids, and he was able to save a substantial amount of money per month that went back to his family and not onto his health insurance through the insurance that we just switched to, which has been a game changer. And so
Yeah.
it is easy to look at how, because our payroll is often the most expensive part of our budget. It's often the largest amount of our budget for our organizations. It's easy to look at benefits and think, okay, how can we squeeze the most? How can we lower that? Can we even offer it? But I have a couple stats here that I want to make sure that we're aware of. So first of all, 56% of US adults, so over half of US adults said that whether or not they like their health coverage is a key factor in deciding to stay at their current job. I think this stat is especially important for those of us who are leaders at 501c3s and nonprofits to really take this into consideration, because most of the time we're not able to pay as much as for-profit jobs. And then when we're on top of that, not offering benefits, that can be a really big problem into attracting and retaining the right people for our teams. And so it's really important that when we're looking at our budget, we're prioritizing health plans and healthcare as a part of the benefit package. This other stat over here is also, it's just crazy that half of employees say that making health insurance decisions is always very stressful. The keyword there is always, not just sometimes, but always very stressful. And so we, again, want to be part of the solution here at Leadr. And so not only are we able to offer health plans, we have our Leadr health team that's licensed in all 50 states, but we're are set on making that experience as seamless and easy as possible for your HR team and your entire team. And our Leadr health team is phenomenal and does a great job of just making that process not stressful and engaging and helpful and just on call to help be a resource to your team as you care for and develop them at every level, from employee onboarding all the way to signing up for health benefits, for sure. And then Bridget, can you speak to through our platform, how, because I know for me, what was frustrating prior to joining the Leadr team was I would get this packet of paperwork. It was like, okay, time to pick your health benefits. And then I get handed literally like a stack of 20 pieces of paper. And not only do I have, no idea what any of it says, but I'm having to refill out the same information over and over again, not to mention the fact that my social security number is on this piece of paper and I have no idea whose desk it's going to, who's looking at it. So how have we at Leadr helped solve this problem through the platform?
Yeah, so I can share this screen as well. And gosh, to your point, Holly, I was talking to a customer this morning that was on a PEO, which is a company that essentially does your payroll and benefits for you. And their insurance they renew October 1, and it went up 32%.
Wow.
I was like, I'm sorry, what? And so she's like, so we're shopping, and we're like, great, you came to the right place. But this benefits enrollment screen, and it is truly incredible. You're going to start by entering that personal information just once, because like I said, step-by-step process. So you will go through each of these steps, and then your employee is going to have the ability to go through everything that you guys offer and choose whether or not they want to take part in medical insurance, but they don't necessarily need voluntary life insurance for their spouse or for their children or whatever that looks like. And so they can go through and make these elections. And as they do that, they'll see the shopping cart on the right-hand side that'll show them kind of what they're getting themselves into. But it's our team on the back end that is going to input all of this information for you. And so you're not the one that is sitting there trying to upload these plan documents and figure out who's eligible for what. So if you have some employees that are only eligible for medical, dental, and vision, but then you have your other full-time pastors that are also eligible for voluntary and long-term disability, or whatever that looks like for you guys, we're going to be the ones that are entering that information in for you, so that your employees at this final screen can see, okay, this is what I was offered and chose last year, and this is what I have chosen for this upcoming benefits year. And it is just, you can, so all of your plan documents can be in there, so they can say, I don't even know what I signed up for last year, and
That
they'll
would
be
be
able to
me.
review that. Yeah, like, what is it that I chose? Was I contributing to an FSA? I don't really know. But so this will be all housed within this system for you, which is super helpful.
Yes, game changer.
Mhm. Yeah.
I am the person, Bridget, that you probably get so frustrated by, because it's like I am one of those employees that often gets overwhelmed by the health insurance decisions. And so
Mhm.
by being a part of the team at Leadr, I feel so resourced, and just it's so much easier to be able to see everything in one place rather than digging through this paperwork that I'm given and have no idea what it says. And so
Right.
that's a game changer to have it all into one place. And for
Yeah.
the admin, like for the person sitting in your chair, the HR leader, to be
Mhm.
able to have, again, that all digitized. They're not having to manually go in and type all of this in to a software somewhere. It's all there automatically, which I can only
Yeah.
imagine saves hours.
Well, and so we just went through open enrollment at Leader, and I had to take, we haven't been able to get into the system yet. I had to take all of our new benefits that our employees chose and hand type them into our payroll system. And so
Mm.
the benefit of this one-stop shop is your employees complete this open enrollment, and as soon as you verify everything, it is automatically translated into your payroll processing. And so no longer are you going in and typing in everyone's medical pre-tax deduction, everyone's dental pre-tax deduction. And truly, I just can't even express how much I love it.
Yes,
How thankful I
literally
am for
putting
it. Yeah.
hours back in your day
Mhm.
for sure. So good.
Yes.
So good. Okay, let's see. We've got a couple of questions here. So Shauna says, does the benefits connect with the carriers for enrollment and terminations through the system? So can you speak to that a bit, Bridget? And then I'll kind of fill in the gaps.
Yeah, so that is going to be dependent on your broker individually. So if you broker with a leader, that will be our job to kind of, okay, we're going to terminate those employees within your those medical carriers, and if they are benefit or eligible for COBRA or whatever that looks like, we'll kind of make sure that that gets done for that terminated employee.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely, we have some options we can talk to you through, Shauna, depending on what package you choose. But we, if we are your broker at Leadr, it's a lot easier on the benefits administration side. So we can talk with you directly about that and what that looks like for your team. And then Carlos, how cool is this? Thanks, Carlos. He was saying that we use Leadr benefits, and our pastor saved over $500 in premiums per month, and his family was still able to use their doctors. That is great news, and it's stories like that that keep us going for sure. Let's see. And then Venus said, can you choose to use part of the options? Like, we'd be interested in the employee onboarding. So for this new solution that we're running out, we're rolling out, you do have to use payroll. So the foundation of this solution is payroll. I think what Liz has been so helpful in the chat for this new solution that we're showing today, which enables us to offer payroll to our customers for the first time. You do have to have payroll as a part of that, because all of the other features are dependent, like PTO, it's all dependent there on payroll as the foundation. So we're happy to talk with you directly on the weeds of that. I don't want to cause any confusion there, but I'm happy to walk you through what that looks like. But our goal, again, is to make sure that we're making this as seamless and easy as possible so that you can simplify your processes and be able to also make sure that you're putting your employees first and making it a great experience for them. Well, with that, what questions do we have? We've been addressing some of them throughout. I'm going to look in the Q&A box. I see there's 3 there that I haven't seen yet. Feel free to throw them in here in the Q&A and then also in the chat, and I'll keep my eye out. Let's see. Liz is asking, what about integrations with different software used by the finance team who need to know what payroll just did? So again, Liz, hopefully this helps provide some clarity, and happy to, again, talk you through this, but with this new HR and payroll solution that we're offering, you do have to have payroll as a part of it. And so we're happy to walk you through what that looks like on the back end and the administrative part of it. And then of course, if you need it to integrate with another software, it's easy to do export, import. Bridget, I don't know if you want to speak to all the integrations that I know the software has lots of integration capability with different softwares as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the automatically generated reports when you run payroll is a GL export. And so depending what you're using for your accounting software, we have another gal on our team. Her name is also Bridget, and she's an accounting wizard, and she is going to be able to take your guys's budget codes. And so if you guys are on departments and account codes, and however you need that payroll journal entry to look, she can create a specific GL export for you to get that done. It's easiest on like QuickBooks Desktop, but it's possible with QuickBooks Online and whatever else you guys are using for accounting softwares. We can look into specific integrations with those systems. And so specifically as when it comes to accounting softwares, that's possible. We also have various integrations with different 403B and 401k providers. We have some that are 180-degree integrations and some that are 360-degree integrations. So if you have an employee that goes into your 403B provider's website and changes their contribution, we have some integrations that will make that change in payroll for you, and vice versa. And then some that if you change it in our system, it will change in the provider system as well. And so, yeah, all different kinds of integrations depending on what you guys are using currently.
Reason number 1,000,000 why I love working with you, Bridget, because you know what things are, like a GL. I can't remember what you just said, but
yeah, general ledger export.
There you go. Perfect. I'm sure everybody else on the call is like, yeah, Holly, I know exactly what that is because they're the HR and payroll expert on the team. Okay, Andy says, what does the employee's PTO request flow look like? From the employer's side, what does the approval flow look like? I don't know if you have, if you're able to show that in the example there, Bridget, or if you can just kind of talk through it. But the short answer is it's very easy.
Yes, I think that Bert asked this question in the chat too. And so what that's going to look like is dependent on what you want it to look like. And so if you have managers set up for employees and the managers are going to be the ones that are approving those PTO requests, that is absolutely possible. And then again, this is a system that completely speaks to each other. And so Bert's was, how does PTO get populated? Does it talk to the payroll system? Yes. So during your implementation stage, we're going to ask questions like, do you guys give a bucket at the beginning of the year? Or are you guys working on an accrual basis? Is your accrual basis based on anniversary date or is it calendar year? And then you can have different employees accruing at different rates. And so the payroll is going to be the engine that drives those numbers. And so as you run these payrolls, that's what's going to trigger that Andy Stanley got 5 hours of PTO this pay period. And then when that employee enters that PTO, the manager approves it, it gets translated to the payroll system. So when they're looking at that pay stub, they can see, oh, I took 16 hours of PTO this pay period, and they can see it broken out in a separate line item of their pay stub. So
super helpful.
It all speaks to each other and is all, driven by payroll.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Okay, another question here. If employees are opting out of benefits, does the platform allow the employer to attach opt-out benefits like health insurance opt-out? And does the connect directly to the payroll portion of the platform to add that as a line item? Sounds like based on your answer to the last question, the answer is yes and yes.
Yeah, yes. So if they're opting out and you are going to choose, okay, we're going to give them a $30 per paycheck allowance for opting out of insurance because we pay for insurance on our employees' behalf, then yes, that will be translated into the payroll side as well.
Awesome. Okay, Archie, we've got a few pricing questions. And so feel free to reach out directly to us. Would love to, the answer to that, it just depends on if you're already a Leadr customer, if you're not a Leadr customer. We have different packages. Like if you're not a Leadr customer, what it looks like to have our Leadr People Development plus Leadr Plus is what it's called, where it's the HR all-in-one. So just reach out to our team and we'll be happy to look at your journey with us and be able to talk to you about what pricing looks like. But Archie, to your question about, he said, I love the payroll options you discussed. How is that charged? And is it a monthly cost and a per employee cost? So basically we've made it really simple. So you're just paying for Leadr Plus, which is our package, which includes payroll and HR, is per person, per employee per month. That's called a PEPM model, per employee per month. And so we'll be able to walk you through what that looks like for your team. Just reach out to us and happy to have that conversation. Let's see. And then percent of our employees are on automatic payroll deposits. So how do you charge for that? So yeah, same thing, per employee per month. And then Bridget, I don't know if you have any other details of just what that looks like of automatic payroll deposits.
Yeah, I assume that correct us if we're wrong, if you're talking about just direct deposit versus like a paper check that an employee receives. Direct deposit is the way to go personally. In some states, like the state of Texas, you can require all of your employees to receive a direct deposit as opposed to a paper check. So yes, back to Holly, there's not going to be any additional fee on a per payroll basis. So if you sign up, you can run as many different payrolls as you need. So if your part-time employees are on a different pay schedule than your full-time employees are, there's not going to be an additional fee on a per payroll run.
Yes, that's awesome. All right. And then Kendall asks, is there a way to load annual employee trainings for employees in the system? So I'm going to answer this in two ways. I'm not sure exactly what the context here is, Kendall, but one thought is we have our learning module inside of Leadr. And so highly recommend, it's an incredible tool. It's one of my favorite parts of our Leadr software, which is being able to assign out learning as well as creating a learning playlist. So if you are a Leadr customer and you have not tried out our learning playlist, we just rolled it out, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it's so cool because you can literally create a playlist all around employee onboarding. Let's say there's 5 videos you want every new employee to watch, load them there in the learning playlists and share that with your new employee, or even down to like management trainings, or even a specific topic, like how to give and receive feedback. So lots of ideas there for how you can use our learning module for training across your team. But if the question is, how do we document like employee records? Let's say there was a sexual harassment training that you need to make sure you documented that every employee went through. Bridget, is there a way where you can store all that information into the employee's electronic file of things like that you need to keep track of?
Yes, absolutely. And so after the employee completes all of those onboarding documents, that's all going to be housed within like the personnel file of your employee within the system. And then from there, you're able to send out any messages through the system, send out any, you guys update your employee handbook for 2023 and you want every employee to sign the new handbook. You can send that out and make sure that all of your employees are signing those handbooks or storing any ministry safe or any other trainings that your employees are going through.
That's awesome. Bringing it all. So you don't have to have file cabinets anymore. It's all electronic.
Yeah, everything paperless. I love Carlos's question though. Would you mind if I share my screen one more time?
Oh, of course. Please do, Bridget. Yeah. So I'll read while you're doing that. I'll read Carlos's question. He says, for payroll, can employees view their paycheck, make tax selection changes, etc.? For employee onboarding, can we house EE applications, offer letters, housing allowances, etc.?
Yeah, so that latter half I just kind of answered. Right here, you see that personal tab, which is where all of those employee documents are going to be housed. But so this is my favorite part because it's so easy for our employees to go in and check their pay stub. And so if they just want this nice clean view, okay, this is what my net pay is going to be, and this is what my gross pay was. And so looking at, gosh, I don't know if my filing is correct. And so they can come down here and they can check what this paycheck was calculated based on their current W-4 withholdings. They can also click in to see all of their earning line items, deductions. If you just went through your open enrollment and you want to make sure that your deductions were correct, and then what time off that I take this pay period. You can see all of that here, as well as you can download this into a PDF. So you're applying for a new house, a new mortgage, and you need to get all of those pay stubs. you would just go through your pay periods here and download each individual pay stub. With this, we also allow the employee to change their direct deposit. And I don't know if anybody else is type A like I am, but I like to check a new employee's direct deposit maybe 3 or 4 times, because the amount of times an employee misses that leading zero or transposes numbers. And so I can make sure that the system alerts me when I have an employee that updates their direct deposit, so I can go in and check that. And then again, you get married, you have a baby, and you need to change that W-4. This is going to take you through that same tax wizard. And so, are you married? How many kids do you have? Do you have any other dependents? Anything like that will be completed in this employee self-service and translated directly into your payroll system. I love this part.
Yeah, Carlos is excited too, in all caps. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And yeah, our goal there, and I want to answer, there are a couple questions here that are, we have a couple customers that have been using the core HR feature that we have been able to have some customers on, but and it's great for things like employee onboarding, but what it didn't have was payroll. And this was one of the biggest pain points that we heard from our customers was, how can I bring everything into one-stop shop with Leadr? So how can I bring my people development, my leadership development, my core HR, my health plans, my payroll all into one place? And so about a year ago, that's where we set out. We did tons of research. We looked at dozens of different platforms to figure out how can we really provide the best solution for our customers, especially our customers that are churches that have those nuances about pastors' housing allowance. There's a lot of payroll software out there that does not account for the nuances of church payroll, and it's a huge pain point for customers. And so, to Francis and Julie, for that is where we are now offering this one-stop shop solution. And so we're able to now have you on a payroll solution that also talks to your benefits and yes, exactly, payroll tax returns, all of that we will take care of for you through this new solution. And so we're excited to be able to offer this. If you are currently a customer, I'm going to share my screen real quick to make sure that you guys can see this. So if you are currently a customer, would love for you to connect with your customer success manager. So we'll have them reach out to you to talk you through what this would look like to get your team up and running. And then if you're not a Leadr customer, we would love to talk to you about becoming your one-stop shop for caring for and developing your team really, really well, because that is our heart and our intention here at Leadr. So if you have any other questions, you guys all have my email because it sent it out with the registration confirmation. So please feel free to email me, reach out to your customer success manager. And then if you are not yet a Leadr customer, you can request a demo through our website or email me directly and we will get you set up. Well, let's also give a shout out to Bridget. Bridget, thank you so much for being a part of providing this awesome solution for our customers. And just your knowledge and expertise around payroll and HR is so helpful. I feel lucky that I get to work alongside you every day. And so feel free, everybody, to, I want to say give a round of applause, but since we're all on Zoom, throw some thank yous to Bridget in the chat. And we look forward to connecting with everybody later. Thank you so much for spending the last hour with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.